let's look at next week now. The non-conference schedule is now over. Big Ten play starts next week. Bucky Badger comes to town. They dominated their game tonight against New Mexico State. They put up 66 points tonight. But New Mexico State is a very, very average team. Their loss to Washington State at home is really kind of like a big wart on them. That was a bad loss in my eyes. No way should Washington State come into Wisconsin and walk out of there with a win. We'll really have to see how well their quarterback, Graham Mertz, I think his name is, how well he plays, because they're going to need it next week. Wisconsin always has a great running back. They're going to have two guys that can run the football. That's a staple in Wisconsin's offense. They're always going to have strong running backs. They're always going to have a monstrous offensive line. And it's a great test next week for Ohio State. This week you had to deal with a mobile quarterback, and last week you had a spread team. This week is your typical Big Ten 3 yards in a cloud of dust team. All right? They're going to march out a monster offensive line. Let's see how that D-line plays next week. Let's see, can they keep them guys off our linebackers and let Eichenberg, Steele Chambers, Cody Simon, and those guys get upfield and make plays, okay? Because that's been the difference right now. That's what you got to watch when you watch these games. Our defensive line has gobbled up offensive linemen, okay, and kept our running backs or our linebackers able to run free to make the plays, okay? They're not letting them guards get upfield and get on our linebackers. So they've done a great job by gobbling up the offensive line and letting our linebackers run free and make plays. And that's the sign of a good defense right there when you can have that happen. So next week, guys, it'll be a great test. And one other thing we got to talk about, too, is in all my years of being an Ohio State fan, and that's about 40 years, okay, I don't remember the last time Ohio State's had 8 home games. If somebody can tell me the last time Ohio State had 8 home games, I'd love to know that. It's normally a 7-game home schedule, okay? This year it's 8. So if it's more set up for Ohio State this year to make a run, you're never going to have a better chance than this year with 8 home games. So Ohio State really has to take advantage of it, not to mention the first 5 on the schedule. They've got Bucky Badger next week, and then they come back with Rutgers the following week before they go on the road at Michigan State. Now, Michigan State, I haven't seen a score, but Washington was taking it to them. That game was being played in Washington. So, but when you go on the road in the Big Ten, there are no gimmies, okay? There are no gimmies. So, again, that's another thing to look at. Ohio State's schedule has been very user-friendly to this point, and they need to take advantage of it. Let's take a look here. Yeah, Brian, you're right about that. The Rockets aren't bad. I get it. And you're right about that team up north schedule. There's no doubt about it that they would beat the same 3 teams that Michigan played. There is no doubt about it. Yeah. Again, Brian posted again here. Yeah, he was on the sideline. He was laughing. Hopefully it's just precaution. Again, we just got to wait and see down the road here. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Yep. Yeah, this is a good point here, Lee. You know, Stroud on the RPO was horrible, almost stumbling and bumbling. Again, Stroud doesn't run a whole lot. He's just not a runner. And Ohio State has not run a lot of zone read stuff with him, okay? Believe me, for a second there, I did hold my breath. He did have a huge defensive lineman come down on him as he was getting tackled. So I did hold my breath for a second there, hoping that he didn't dislocate a shoulder or anything like that. So, you know, he was all right. But again, yeah, it's something he's not real familiar with and accustomed to. The offensive line just does a great job pass blocking for him, and he's just able to make plays back there. So, Brian, thank you very much for that. So they did play 8 games in 2012 then. Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And, yep, Jeremiah. Next week, as I said, get your popcorn ready. Hey, it's a 9-game stretch in 10 weeks. We'll have a bye week sandwiched in there. And it all starts next week, Big Ten play. And, hey, again, no slouch. I don't care what the record says. Wisconsin comes in. They always play Ohio State tough, regardless of what happened in the Big Ten championship game the one year that they won the national title. Ohio State did. They played Wisconsin again and went right down to the final. For the most part, it was a 5-point win. So Wisconsin, is going to come in with their lunch pail and their hard hats on. That's how they play. And so, again, enjoy it while it's here, people. Enjoy the season while it's here. As I stated, it's already a quarter over. Enjoy each day as they come, and let's just keep seeing what Ohio State can do. Just keep getting better and better each week. The building blocks. As I said, the season is not a sprint. It is a marathon. Right now, Ohio State has the foundation down as they build their house, and as each week goes, they just build up from that foundation, okay? Brian, great comment here again, also in 2010. Okay, I appreciate that. So 2 times in basically the last 12 years, Ohio State has had 8 home games. Well, guess what? Right now, it's set up for Ohio State to make a run, not just to the playoffs, but for a national championship. So let's enjoy it, people, while we can.